This has certainly not been a very good week for Donald Trump. In fact, it really hasn't been a good week for anyone on the Republican side of the aisle, but Donald Trump is having the worst week so far. I imagine it's probably going to get worse in the coming weeks. But joining me to talk about all of the craziness with Donald Trump, the investigations, everything is Cliff Schecter, author, consultant, strategist, and of course the host of the Blue Amp channel on YouTube that is growing significantly. Cliff, welcome back to Ring of Fire.
Always my pleasure, buddy. Seems like we've been doing these either in audio or video for a lot of years now, so it's always fun to join you again.
We really have. And, I'm sorry to bring you on this week when there's just nothing for us to talk about.
No. Is there anything going on right now? Hey, Messi is going to be playing in Florida. There you go. That's big. That's the big news of the week, clearly.
Well, and the biggest news of the week, obviously, is the North Dakota governor, whose name I already forgot, running for president, right? I mean, that's the big one.
You know what's hilarious? I didn't even know that was happening. So it's the governor. It's not the attorney general that ran the guy down the middle of the. Oh, no, that was South Dakota. They're all the same, right? Remember the attorney general ran somebody over and then came back later and was like, "Oh, I thought it was a deer, and it was a human that he killed, and he still didn't get impeached." Or he didn't impeach.
The man's glasses that he hit were inside his car because his face went through the windshield. But anyway, those are wonderful.
You that wear glasses, don't you?
Those are stories that are absolutely true. By the way, everybody needs to pay attention to that stuff. But Cliff, we found out this week a couple things with this special prosecutor Jack Smith. One thing we learned that I didn't know, maybe you did know, we've got a second grand jury down here in Miami that Jack Smith went and visited on Tuesday, the day after Trump's lawyers went to the DOJ begging, please don't indict him. And that didn't go well. But the second grand jury, to me, I think that's a very big thing. It's a federal grand jury, according to the reports. But I mean, there's so much more happening, I think, than any of us knew throughout all of these investigations. And that to me is a very good sign, right?
I mean, no, it's a hugely good sign, right? Bigly, or however he says it. Because look, many crimes have allegedly been committed. And, we've moved forward. Obviously, well, that was civil with E. Jean Carroll, but we've moved forward with other indictments. And he needs to be held responsible for every single damn thing he did. Because the whole one of the theories behind the criminal justice system is if you punish people, other people won't do those things. And he did some pretty bad things. And so the classified documents, I mean, it's insane, right? They tried to sort of way back when make it like, oh, well, Biden had one in his garage. And they even did like all this sort of, cosplaying over it. Like conservatives would be like, oh, look, I found one in my garage. And George W. Bush, who I'm no fan of, but had like a few of them lying around, and Clinton might have. This dude stole, I don't know how many of them, but scores and scores of them. He knew what he had. My favorite part, we made a video about it at the channel, was the fact that he, on tape, because we know from Tricky Dick back in the day, tapes work out very well, on tape basically undermined his whole defense and said, oh, I knew what they were. They're about Iran and an attack, and I knew they were classified. I knew I didn't have the right to declassify. And so I'll say two things quickly. First, based on all that. One, I didn't know about the one in Florida either. And from what I've read, Jack Smith, being very intelligent, which he seems to be, was worried that there would be some jurisdictional issues and did not want to take a risk that some of his charges will get kicked out based on jurisdiction. So he impaneled a second grand jury in that jurisdiction to make sure that Trump couldn't try that legal runaround. And the second thing is he's purposely gone after him on a law that is very clear and has to do with showing classified documents to people that have no right to see them, as in all of us without clearance, which on that tape he literally was doing, showing it to somebody without clearance, because the Constitution is very clear about that. So Trump can't try getting it tied up in court about whether the president has the right to look at these things or not afterwards and has the right to hold on to them. That's not going to matter. What matters is he shared classified information with people who absolutely weren't people he was allowed to legally, constitutionally share it with. And that's each time he did that, I think it's a 10-year sentence. So
Well, and part of that too, Trump.
the ketchup right now in Mar-a-Lago, I'll just say, is sheltering in place.
But Trump is the guy that actually signed the law increasing the penalty for the crime that he is now being investigated for. He signed the law saying if you share classified documents, we're increasing the jail time for. So the sweet, sweet irony here is this man being undone by his own action with that law. Like, hey, maybe you would have only gotten 3 years, but you wanted these people doing what you do punished. So now we got to go even longer, man. That's your fault. I mean, look, honestly, all of this is Trump's fault. The NSA, the DOJ, they worked with Donald Trump for a year and a half just trying to get these documents back. They begged him. The whole thing was like, we don't want to do any of this.
I know.
We don't want an investigation. Just look, give them back, and then you fill out the paperwork, and then we'll give them back. Like, that's it. Right. That's all you got to do. And he's
tried everything they could to not prosecute him. And he just seemed to be, he seemed to literally be tied to the notion of, no, I want to make you prosecute me.
And that is not working out. And so one of the things that a lot of people have been concerned about with this, and I mean, I've heard it from people, you see it in comments, you see it on social media. Trump will never get charged with anything. He'll always get away with it. I think we can almost do away with that myth with this particular investigation. We do have lots of reports this week saying the indictments are pending. I mean, possibly today, possibly while you and I are talking, the rest of the world is already talking about Trump's been indicted and we don't even know. I know, but this doesn't feel like something he's going to wriggle his way out of. Like you pointed out, Jack Smith has done such a phenomenal job with this second grand jury just to make sure Trump can't wriggle out of it. And that indicates that, he's not going to let him off. Like this is happening. Trump may not believe it. He may say that, I've been told I'm going to be indicted. But he did get the letter from the DOJ this week saying, listen, you're the target. And
you may want to pack some underwear, pal, because, that kind of a letter.
Well, and it really is just at warp speed right now. The developments that we've seen this week, honestly, kind of mind-blowing. I mean, the DOJ admitted, we've talked about 24 Secret Service agents from Mar-a-Lago. I mean, it's just coming fast and furious at this point, and I don't see a way out of this for Donald Trump.
Again, I don't think there can possibly be one, right? Because they have every type of evidence. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but they have tapes, which is why I think he's also screwed in Georgia. And that announcement, by the way, could come at some point in June, too. Yay, June's going to be an awesome month. Happy Pride Month, everybody. So that's the tapes part of it, and the fact that he literally, it's almost like he sat down. He's not smart enough to do this, but it's almost like he sat down, looked at his defense, and was like, I'm going to undermine it point by point. And I'm going to share, the whole, I didn't know what I had. I'm going to say I know what I had. The whole, I didn't know it applied to me as president. I'm going to say it applied to me as president. The whole, I can't share it with I didn't know I couldn't share with other people. I'm going to share it with, he's undermined his entire defense. It's on tape. He's got there's witnesses, people who have obviously seen the crap that we've seen pictures of strewn across the floor, and other ones in his office and other places. Apparently, we've got Meadows, and that's the real question here, because there's some denials, I think, from his lawyer, who strangely has like the same name as Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. I just pointed out Terwilliger or whatever it is. But in any case. He says no, but everybody else says that Mark Meadows has turned state's evidence, if you will, is cooperating for having some limited immunity. I mean, if that's true, then he's done. I honestly, again, could an asteroid hit us today so he doesn't go to prison? Sure. Could those wildfires get worse and encompass the entire Earth? I suppose so. Could Aquaman, come up from below, from Atlantis, and be in a really pissed off mood and kill us all? I mean, there are scenarios you can come up with where Trump doesn't go to prison. I have a really hard time seeing, though, when you've got tapes and you've got Meadows and you've got all the other evidence, how he doesn't go to prison on this.
Yeah, and with the Meadows thing, too, obviously it's in the lawyer's best interest. It's in his client's best interest to say, no, he is not cooperating. In fact, there's nothing, because if he admits that, this is happening, you've got the whole MAGA freak world that is going to come out. I mean, quite literally go after Mark Meadows. So the lawyer, maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe he's just protecting the physical safety of his client, because we've seen what these people do. I mean, we already have Republicans in Congress right now, both the House and Senate, threatening the DOJ. They're saying, if you come out with indictments, we're cutting all of your funding. Like, you guys are not operating with money anymore. Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley are threatening, like, we're going to launch a full investigation. Like, y'all don't even have any power. Shut the hell up right now.
Exactly.
And
think of what they've done already, right? I mean, Jim Jordan, Alvin Bragg is suing Jim Jordan because he went to New York to threaten somebody who's completely independent of Jim Jordan. Thank God for him, of anything Jim Jordan can do. And he went and he threatened him. Dan Goldman has come out. We've put those clips up at the channel too, and others where they're pointing out that literally, this whole, weaponization of the government. This is just House Un-American Activities Committee take 2 or take 3, where they try to pretend that they're, they name it something that makes it seem like they're the ones who are doing the right thing when they are doing the exact thing that the name of the committee is. They are weaponizing the government, as Goldman and others have pointed out, to try to go after anyone who would go after Donald Trump. That is the sole reason that stupid committee exists. It's proven nothing. It's shared nothing. Twitter's own lawyers went in and were like, yeah, Elon Musk is full of crap. Twitter files were a complete joke. Matt Taibbi clearly took too much acid while he's living in Russia. This is, they've accomplished zero except for embarrassing themselves and implicating themselves. So you're right. Like they're going to try. I mean, they're going to try to obfuscate and lie and disinformation and the rest, but I wish them luck.
Don't you feel like these Republicans, even though they're talking a big game in public, they have got to be so excited? Like, this is the biggest gift the Republican Party could get. Like, listen, Jack Smith is doing your dirty work for you. Majority of the public doesn't want Trump to run again. Even though he's polling ahead in the Republican primary, we know y'all don't actually want him. So you're out there like, oh, darn that Jack Smith. And backstage, you're high-fiving like, hell yeah, they're going to get rid of him and we can maybe have a normal Republican. So I imagine, in spite of the public anger, behind the scenes, these folks are happier than a pig in slop, because this is the greatest thing they could have ever hoped for.
That was an apt comparison, by the way. But I would agree. Yeah. I mean, with the exception of a couple of them who have so closely tied their fates to that of Donald Trump, like Jim Jordan, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of the other ones, and they're not even the entire Freedom Caucus. My guess is behind the scenes, half to 2/3 of the Freedom Caucus will be like, lifting champagne glasses. I mean, you just need basic common sense to just be not an absolute and complete moron with your neurons misfiring in all directions to get that this man is a drag and say to yourself, he got 74 million votes last time and we had to suppress the hell out of votes and get help from Russia. And, one of the, what's her name, Congresswoman was talking the other day about the 87,000 legal voters who were kicked off the rolls in Georgia when the Republicans are trying to do their little, pretended their little sort of vote suppress, or we had cheated in the elections. And of course, it turns out that they had kicked more voters off in Georgia. They need to do that. They had to do all of that just to get him within 7 million votes. Like, somebody needs to tell me, after multiple criminal and civil indictments for everything from being a sexual predator to sharing classified documents with God knows who from foreign countries to sedition potentially and numerous other things, who's the person that didn't vote for him last time that was like, that's my guy, right? In a general election, that's the guy who I'm going to vote for. It just, I don't see how that happened. So he hit his high point, and they have to be clinking glasses and just like, thank God, get this guy out of the way. I mean, but the question then leads to who's next, right? Because, down there, I mean, there's people that can reach the top of a state. Mike DeWine, the nebbishy little dork in this state, who's like an obsessed anti-abortion freak, is able to win here. If he ran state, nationwide, he'd get crushed. Well, Ron DeSantis apparently thought that he had, beyond winning a state, what it took to run nationally. And like Mr., pudding fingered meatball himself, like, every time he tries to talk to a crowd, it's the cringiest thing in the world. And I don't know whether to laugh or cry. So, and Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Chris Christie, who left New Jersey with a 7% approval rating, I think. I mean, I don't know who it is who's coming up, but maybe the governor of North Dakota, whose name I don't know. Maybe he's there.
Speaking of actually the Dakota governors, I really thought Kristi Noem might jump into this as well. I mean, she is a beloved MAGA figure. Wow, sorry.
Oh, of course.
Horrible slip of the tongue there. But she's also embroiled in her own scandal that, got buried with, helping the daughter try to get the real estate appraiser's license and then firing the woman who denied. Like, what a stupid scandal that really should have ended Noem's career. Kind of like the guy that we talked about earlier, the attorney general, I guess, killed a man. I mean, like,
what do you have to do?
What is going on in South Dakota?
Well, it shows, again, I think you may have had David Pepper on already.
Yeah.
And he's written about this in states and localities. I mean, the problem is that their media has so brainwashed so many people in rural areas. And this is not to insult everybody in rural areas, folks. And everybody, by the way, in red states or, Farron wins because he's living in Pensacola. And that is redder than I live in at least a blue spot within a state that's turned way too red for my liking in Ohio. But we at least are out here, and we see all of this stuff. We see what the propaganda has done and how they've gerrymandered state legislatures and everything like that. And so there's no accountability. Like Kristi Noem, if the state was sane, I mean, think to yourself for a second. George McGovern was once elected senator from that state. Think about that for a second, right? That tells you it was a different time where you didn't have the right-wing propaganda you have today. George McGovern would never get more than 5% there today. Liberal baby killer, blah, blah. They'd be saying all that stuff about him that they couldn't say before they had Fox News and Breitbart and these things. And so they've so brainwashed people that it seems like it's almost impossible. The only way a Republican is held accountable is if they try to screw over another Republican, like Ken Paxton in Texas. He's actually going to be held accountable for the numerous crimes he's committed, but he's been there like 8 years or something already. And the only reason he's being held accountable is because he went after the state house speaker and picked a fight with him. And so they all stood up for the state house speaker. They're not doing this because it's the right thing to do. I mean, in the end, the right thing will be done, thankfully, but that's not why they're doing it. And so Kristi Noem, she has almost immunity. The guy in I think I'm trying to remember what happened. Ravensborg, which I think it was his name, the one in South Dakota. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure he was even impeached. I know he wasn't held legally responsible. If he was impeached, it was barely. Many of the Republicans stood up for him because killing a guy is cool if you're a Republican. They're in such a cult, that it makes good governance in red states or even purplish red states so nearly impossible.
From one Kristi to another. Let's talk about Chris, right? I mean, Chris Christie himself, like you said, he left New Jersey with a 7% approval rating for good reason. The guy was corrupt as hell, right? Not only Bridgegate, but also, Beachgate, where he shuts down the entire beach because
that picture is still fantastic.
I love it. And those are just two of the most popular scandals. There were plenty more. He was terrible. And it's so funny to see now, those things should have ended his career. In a normal world, 20 years ago, your career's done. You're not coming back from that. But this day and age, he comes out and people are like, oh, he's the normal Republican. That's now the normal guy, especially compared to Donald Trump. And again, I'm no fan of Chris Christie, but I am so happy he is in this race. Because if anybody can out-bully Donald Trump and make him look stupid, I think Chris Christie's the only guy that can do that. And I love it. I love watching what's already happening in the last 3 days. Agree.
The one big difference between Christie and these others is that, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here or not. I'll just say cajonas or something of that. He at least is not so scared that he sort of cuddles up in a corner and hides from Donald Trump. Watching DeSantis run and watching Nikki Haley run and Tim Scott, and it's like, didn't you guys see this movie in 2016? Didn't you? Are you so stupid? Didn't you? Even throw aside any morals, which clearly none of you all lack morality, ethics, anything remotely akin to honesty. But just in political interest, you have to take down the top guy to get past the top guy. if you never criticize him, if you never say the kinds of things like we shouldn't have a criminal running our party or any of those, if you don't go after him in very sort of tough personal ways, you're not going to win. You're just going to be another one of these, like what? John Kasich's or, and I can't, it's so hard to even think back to who the hell ran. Ben Carson's, or remember that guy? Does he still exist? That picture of him holding, like with Jesus hugging him, he had up in his living room is probably still up there though. But all these losers who refuse to go after Trump, including Ted Cruz, the pathetic man himself, your wife's ugly. Hi, sir, what can I do for you? Like you can't beat him when you refuse to do it. So the one thing I will give Christie, is that he's willing to do it, because on everything else, he was the DeSantis before DeSantis. He was the guy in 2016 who all the media was like, that's the competent, reasonable Republican. You remember that? Like they all loved him. Oh, he's the competent, reasonable Republican guy, looking past what a bully he was, looking past what an authoritarian, and those two things are obviously related. I mean, the way he avenged anybody who criticized him in New Jersey, got people fired, got people stuck on a freaking bridge because of a lack of an endorsement from a mayor for like hours, including people that needed medical help. Like if that doesn't sound like Ron DeSantis to you, I'm not sure what does. I mean, he was an early fascist, early autocrat, use whatever term you want, in the Republican Party. And you're right. Now he's back and like, hey, look, there's the normal guy.
And part of that is, what, has he been a CNN contributor? I think it is. So CNN has helped to rehabilitate this Chris Christie guy, and that
it's done wonders for their ratings.
Oh, absolutely, just through the roof.
Great leadership there at CNN. They've done a bang up job over at that place.
Exactly, and that again, that's just one of the other crazy things that have happened in the last 5 days. I mean, we really are looking at one of the most insane news cycles that we've just seen in forever, and it's not stopping. Right? Okay, shortly before you and I started talking here, I just read a story on Raw Story. It just came out. And it's based on a Rolling Stone piece. It says that Donald Trump has a new line of attack that he's going to use against Ron DeSantis. And I don't know, have you seen this report yet? Okay, good.
So sanctimonious that nobody in his base would understand. Like 10% of them would be like, what?
Oh, this is so much better. And I love that I get to tell you about this. So, according to this report from Rolling Stone, Donald Trump's advisors, his campaign staffers, they have come up with a new attack that they're preparing to launch on Ron DeSantis. And I am not kidding you when I tell you that the attack is they want Donald Trump to go out there and say that Ron DeSantis has a small penis. That is legitimately what is in this report. That is what the staffers are saying. We're going to rebrand him as Tiny D. Tiny D.
Oh my God.
That's where we're at in this race, in this horrific news cycle, is, you know what? Let's go out there and just say he's got a small packet. And not even thinking
for Marco kind of all over again.
Exactly. And I mean, look, we already have Stormy Daniels who's told us about Donald Trump and what he's got.
Toad from Mario.
Yeah.
All you need to do.
I haven't been able to play Mario Kart since then. But this is where we're at. This is how stupid things are in this race. I mean, not to mention, like, the first thing somebody would ask if Trump comes out with that attack is like, wait a minute, how do you know? I mean, that's the obvious question.
You guys go to the same, was he a guest back in those days in Mar-a-Lago? You peeking in the locker rooms? It's like, hey, Ron, come in here, this room with me. Let me show you the classified documents I've stolen and all the bed bugs on the wall. Oh my God, look at your junk. Is it that kind of I mean, it sounds, the one thing I got to say is, in a world where none of these things mattered, where none of these outcomes mattered, and where real people didn't get hurt, I'd love to just work on the Trump campaign for a day and just come up with ways to insult other people running against him. Because apparently you have free reign to come up with any stupid thing you want. It's like a writer's room, and a comedy show. But in this world, Donald Trump's evil and awful and should go to prison forever, and they should throw away the key. And no, I wouldn't want to do that. But I mean, Tiny D, listen, like, he just gratuitously wants to insult Ron DeSantis because no one's allowed to challenge Donald Trump. And Ron DeSantis, by doing this, has shown he is not grateful for the fact that he's only where he is because of Donald Trump, because everybody's only where they are because of Donald Trump and the rest of it. And so he feels the need to go after DeSantis, whereas really, if they were using political strategy and not, it wasn't all based upon that mess that he calls a cerebral cortex in his head, they would leave Ron DeSantis alone because he's imploded. They don't need to step on Ron DeSantis's grave. He's digging himself in all by himself. You know what I mean? Like, they would be running like the front runner, and they'd be out there talking about all these imaginary accomplishments of theirs. The border wall is built. Have you seen that great wall that goes all the way around the United States that I built? And they'd show fake pictures of it, and CNN would then set up a debate. Does the wall exist? Doesn't it exist? We don't know. They're experts. I mean, that's what he would be doing, is just, instead he's going to waste his time because out of pure sort of vengefulness and anger. And I got to say, I'm kind of going to enjoy it. Him going after DeSantis, him going after Chris Christie hitting him back and going after him and his kids. Yeah. Love that he went after Ivanka and Jared. This is, and Jared's obvious because, Jared's dad put Christie's dad in prison. They've hated each other forever. If people have forgotten that Christie's dad, did I say it the other way? Christie's dad put Jared's dad in prison. That's what I meant to say back in the day when Christie's was a federal prosecutor. The one who was spending more than all the other federal prosecutors almost combined, staying in like 5-star hotels and all that kind of stuff that he was doing. He prosecuted Charles Kushner for a whole scheme, and that's why that was always an uneasy marriage there. But it's going to be fun because it's going to be, whoever is nominated is going to be awful, and whoever is nominated from that side, we're going to have to take seriously because the Russians will try to help them. They'll try to cheat. They'll suppress votes, and we must beat them. But I have to say, at least during the process, while they're all insulting each other, we can at least have some fun. So
yeah, and that's, I've repeatedly been saying that, especially with Chris Christie, and that just adds a new level of fun. But Trump's attacks on DeSantis have been fun. Some of them have actually been accurate, right? Well, omitting some truths.
It's true.
Yeah, and saying he wanted to cut Social Security and Medicare, and it's like that is true too. But Donald, so did you, and of course now Donald Trump is out there attacking Chris Christie for his weight. He's gonna launch a new.
Donald is obviously in very, very top-notch shape.
Yes.
Dr. Crazy Ronnie Jackson Pill Popper said he's gonna live till he's like 427 years old, like Methuselah or something. Right.
Yeah. So it's gonna be very stupid. But you're right. Look, for the rest of 2023, we can laugh at it and have fun. Once we get to the primaries and we start seeing who actually is going to be the winner here. Although I got to be honest, look, if we start primaries in January, caucuses, all that, Trump's going on trial in March. And, things could be a little bit
going
different.
Back and forth between, and look, something that Democrats often don't get, and you get it because I watch your show, as smart people do, and you get this, and hopefully I get it, which is one of the things Republicans have been very successful at, and Democrats, it's taken us a while to learn, but we've got some good guys out there doing it now, and gals, I should say, to be clear, which is mockery of the other side helps send a signal to people who are undecided that they're not serious, that they're a joke. So it's not like mockery should stop, when they're having their primaries and they're getting towards a nominee. Mockery has to be in your toolbox. It also throws them off their game because most of them are emotionally unstable, and can't stand being criticized. The three big ones we've mentioned here, Trump, DeSantis, and Christie, the reason they're also vengeful is they literally cannot stand anybody slightly criticizing them. That's why they're such authoritarians. So mocking them and ripping them, you should be doing constantly because you'll knock them off their game, but also because you'll send a message that they're not serious people. Obviously, you have to also have more in your toolbox than that. You have to be pointing out how horrific their policies will be in hurting people, and all the ways they've lied and have been hypocrites, and and how good your candidate is. But at least for now, the mockery can just be fun, and it doesn't have to be as much about building a brand for any of them. Although they've done a pretty good job of that themselves, and we can just jump into that anyhow and just keep making fun of them. So I'm excited for it. I don't know about you, Farron, but I'm excited.
No, I think it's wonderful. And of course, we got to spend a minute or two here talking about Mike Pence. I don't know why Mike Pence thinks there is any base for him in this Republican Party at all. You got half the party that wants to move on from Trump, which includes Pence, and then the Trump faction who, well, we know what they were chanting on January 6th. So there's no audience for you, man. What the hell are you doing, especially with your little biker jacket trying to look like a badass?
Oh my God.
I mean, what do you think
You
about
mean the Village people? How did Mother feel about that? I just want to. How did Mother feel about him spending time alone eating dinner with a motorcycle, and in that jacket? I mean, he's so pathetic that the fact that this milk toast. I mean, even the interviews with him, and I started to do that when you started talking about him, like I mean, he is just this guy who's just, his head's always bobbing around, which doesn't make the flies happy because they need a landing pad. And he's, well, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I mean, he just is like, he never says anything. Everything has got like various clauses to it. Well, if that, so then that. And well, I mean, he can't come straight out and criticize Trump, even though he tried to get him killed. And I mean, I don't, let's just put it this way. I don't know what we can say on YouTube when we can't, but I think this will be okay, which is with Pence, when we're talking about the swing vote, it's a whole different group of voters. When we're talking about who wanted Mike Pence swinging, let's just put it that way. They're not swing voters because they're going back and forth between them. I mean, there's nobody, as you said, there's anybody who supports Trump hates him. And who else is there? Who's like, I find that guy compelling and charismatic. I mean, like if you're gonna go for if you really are anti-Trump and you want you don't want his vice president, you don't want the guy that helped him do all this stuff, you don't want a guy that's just boring, weird, sort of, whatever. You're gonna end up with like, I don't know, between Nikki Haley and Tim Scott and some other weirdos. Again, the North Dakota governor, whose name we don't know. I mean, you'll end up somewhere like that, I suppose, but I don't see Pence. I mean, they're just, it's hard to talk about it without just sitting there and making fun of them constantly nonstop for just hours and hours and hours, because it is such a pathetic collection of people. I never in my life thought I'd be staring at this. And this is like, these are the potential nominees from one of our major parties.
Cliff, you've been wonderful talking today. Where can everybody find you?
All right. I'm on this YouTube machine here, and that's the place I'd most like people to go. YouTube.com/C Schechter. C is in Cliff. SCHECTER. I wish my name were easier to spell, but hopefully SCHECTER. And hopefully Farron will share that stuff with you up there somewhere. You can catch me at Cliff Schechter, the full name, on Twitter. I think those would be the only two places I would say right now. But being that Elon owns Twitter, I would say lean towards come find me on YouTube. It's easy. You're already on here.
Cliff, thank you so much. It's always so fun talking to you. I appreciate it.
Hey, buddy. It's just like it is talking to an old friend and laughing about terrible people. So I enjoy it too. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.